What if I told you that the difference between barely getting by and becoming financially free, it's not luck, inheritance, or some get-rich-quick scheme. It starts with a decision, a mindset, one that can be installed like software. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to talk about the 4 pillars of success, the traits that every self-made millionaire I've ever known or studied has hardwired into their mind. Ready? Okay, let's dive in then. What is a millionaire? Really? The word millionaire meant something quite different 30 years ago. Back then, it meant set for life. Today, it's not about having exactly $1 million, which isn't very much. It's about freedom. Freedom to be your own boss. Freedom to live life on your terms. So in this episode, when I say the word millionaire, I mean someone who's financially free, not just surviving, but thriving. I've been rich, I've been broke, homeless actually. Money's transitory, but the mindset, once installed, is permanent. Okay, let's get into it. Pillar 1, the do or die commitment. Here's where it all begins. Total commitment. Self-made millionaires don't try, they decide. Let's talk about what commitment really means. Well, it doesn't mean, yeah, I'm interested. It doesn't mean I'll try. It means no turning back, do or die. Commitment is when you decide, and I mean really decide, that success is not optional. It's inevitable because you've already burned the boats in the harbor and there's no way to go back. Let me give you my story. I was 22 when I started my first business. I was married and I had a 2-year-old daughter. I had about $500 in the bank. I used my friend's garage because I didn't have one. I used a cardboard box as a desk and a folding chair, and then I got a telephone and an answering machine. And I printed up some business cards and flyers. I was in the security business, installing alarm systems in high-end homes and businesses. And every day I would go door to door selling and installing these high-end burglar and fire alarm systems. I'd wear my suit and tie during the day and change into my jeans and install them in evenings and weekends. Within a short period of time, I was able to hire a crew of installers, buy trucks, and hire salespeople. And within 3 years, my net worth hit over $1 million. Was it hard? Yeah, it was. Were there times I wanted to fold? Yeah, absolutely. But there was no going back for me. I worked 18 hours a day for months to pull it off. I learned something from the experience that was unshakable, that commitment and doing what failures won't do is an incredible edge that's literally unbeatable. So how do you make a commitment like that? Let's break it down. First, declare it. Declare it out loud. You have to say it, not just think it. Something shifts when you vocalize your intent, when you say, I'm building a 6-figure business by this time next year. I will be financially free in 5 years. Your brain starts to organize a reality around that goal. I'm doing this. Number 2, you burn the boats. Remove the escape routes. You don't try to succeed with one foot in the comfort zone. You cut the safety ropes, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even financially. This doesn't mean reckless risk. It means removing a plan B so that plan A becomes your only option. Third, schedule relentless action. Make your calendar your battlefield. Block time every single day to push the needle forward, even when you're tired. Actually, especially when you're tired. Don't put off anything. Action and motion and consistency, that's your commitment. Number 4, make it your identity. You don't try to be a millionaire. You become the kind of person who thinks, acts, and executes like one. This means your language changes. Your habits evolve. There is no procrastination anymore, no excuses. You are being what you want to become, and then this shifts not only how others see you, but how you see you. And your environment shifts. I was only in my friend's garage for about 3 months, and then I got my first office. I can't tell you how wonderful that felt. I was a business owner now, and can leverage my new identity. You know, commitment isn't very sexy. No one really sees the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices that you make, but this is where the magic is. Commitment and repetition of what works. I talked about this before, and it's the truth. You don't need to be the smartest or the fastest or the most connected. You just need to be the one who refuses to quit. And when the universe sees that level resolve, it moves with you. Doors will open. People show up. All the little synchronicities click into place. So ask yourself this: what would happen if I stopped flirting with my goals and I married them? That's the mindset of a millionaire, and that's the first pillar. Pillar number 2, stop thinking like a worker bee. Most of us were trained, actually programmed, to become worker bees. It started in school. Sit still, follow orders, obey the bell. The system wasn't built to make wealth creators. It was built to create obedient employees, factory workers for the Industrial Revolution. And guess what? That same model is still running today. Here's the loop. Trade your time for a paycheck. Trade your life in 40-hour-per-week chunks. And maybe retire at 65 with a pension, if you're lucky. Let me say it straight. That model will never make you rich. The millionaire's mind doesn't think that way. They break that loop. They stop thinking, how much can I earn per hour? And start thinking, how can I solve a problem? How can I create value once and get paid forever? Millionaires build machines. Machines that don't need sleep. Machines that work even when they don't. Selling just your time for money is a trap. Investing your time into a value-based leverage machine will set you free for life. Let me give you a few examples. Here's one. Angie's digital planner empire. Angie was a single mom working 2 jobs, exhausted. No time, no flexibility, no options. One night she created a simple digital planner and put it on Etsy. Her first week, $12, but she stuck with it. By month 5, around $4,000 a month. And today she runs an online shop that generates 6 figures passively. She's not hustling anymore. She just stopped trading her time and started selling value at scale. Example 2, the real estate multiplier. A guy I knew in Seattle bought a duplex in his 20s. He lived on one side and he rented out the other. Then he did it again and again. 10 years later, he's got 40 doors, cash flow every month, and he doesn't work in the traditional sense because he built a machine that pays him forever. Example 3, content creators. Look at YouTubers. One video done right that goes viral pays you an income for years. I know a guy who made videos on how to set up home theater systems. Just one 8-minute video still brings in $3,000 a month 5 years later. Why? Because he built leverage, one-time effort, long-term return. Let me show you the shift in thinking. Worker bee thinking, how many hours can I work this week? And can I get overtime? Millionaire mind thinking, how do I build something once that pays me for years to come? This is value-based leverage. It's building assets and creating systems. It's letting technology, money, and even people multiply your output. You stop selling your time and you build something. So here's the question that I want you to sit with. What can I build just once that could pay me again and again? Play with that. If you come up with some answers, you've already begun the shift from worker bee to wealth builder. Pillar 3, it's all about the risk. For most people, risk equals fear. Their brain says danger, uncertainty. What if I fail? Don't do it. And so they stay stuck. Millionaires, well, they run toward the risk, but they do so strategically. Because here's the truth, no risk means no reward. Starting Zygon, well, that was a massive risk for me back in the day. No funding or safety net, no fallback plan, just an idea and a deep desire to share it, and a decision to bet on myself. Was I scared? Yeah, a bit. but I knew something deep in my bones. Comfort zones don't create wealth. There's a difference between reckless and risk intelligence. Millionaires aren't gamblers, they're strategic movers. They study, they model, they see what works. Then they make bold moves when others freeze. Think of it like this. When a surfer paddles into a huge wave, well, that's a risk. But it's not totally blind because they've studied the ocean. They know the timing of where to be with the board, and they've trained for it. They've fallen a lot, but they're not scared of the wave anymore because they respect it. And because of that, they can ride it to the shoreline. Here's a story. The software startup that led to $1 billion pivot. I don't know if you know the story of YouTube in its beginnings, but it was around 2004, 2005, I think. And the founders put a web app together to create a video dating site. It was a total flop. But in the failure, they discovered something else. What if we let anyone post videos? And that led them to create a platform they then sold to Google for a couple of $1 billion. And of course, Google turned it into $1 trillion platform. If the founders hadn't taken the risk and failed forward, someone else would have done it. Risk opens doors that fear keeps shut. Listen up, and this may be the most important thing I say today. Risk isn't your enemy. It's the toll that you pay to reach your next level. If you want the rewards of success, this is the gateway you have to cross to get there. And yes, the toll might be rejection, might even be failure that humbles you. But you don't rise in spite of risk. You rise because of it. Every leap, every stretch, every I'm doing this anyway moment, that's where your real growth lives. That's where your next chapter begins. So stop waiting for certainty. Risk is the signal that you're headed somewhere worth going. And here's the shift. The average mind says, what if I fail? The millionaire's mind says, what if this changes everything? Because behind every breakthrough, behind every overnight success was someone who got uncomfortable and risked something. And that's the third pillar. Pillar 4, upgrade your circle. Here's a truth that most people overlook, but millionaires live by it. Your environment doesn't just influence you, it programs you. Spend your time with complainers, victims, and small thinkers, and you'll unconsciously start shrinking your vision to match theirs. Because whether you realize it or not, you're always being pulled on. The only question is, are you being pulled upward or downward? Think of your circle like flying at altitude. The higher you go, the clearer the view, and the noise fades. The vision sharpens, and here's the catch. The air gets thinner. Fewer people can breathe up there. Not everyone is built for that elevation. And at low altitude, it's crowded, distracting, turbulent. You're dodging small talk, drama, doubt. You're reacting instead of navigating. But when you rise, you enter rare air. Conversations get bigger, ideas get bolder, and the people around you, they don't compete, they collaborate, they build, they risk, they expand. Millionaires don't stumble into this kind of circle, they engineer it, and they invest in it, and they protect it because they know. Here's a story. When I was building my first company in my 20s, I used to take a millionaire to lunch once a week. I was doing security for the wealthy people in my city, people who own companies and were part of the elite. I started inviting them to lunch so I could pick their brain about how they created their success. And like all people, they like to tell their stories and talk about themselves, and I let them. Remember, I was in my early 20s. A lot of these guys were in their 50s and 60s, and they loved it, mentoring a young, inquisitive entrepreneur like me. This decision changed everything. The ideas, business referrals, and mindset shifts that I gained in that room didn't just multiply my income, they recalibrated who I was becoming. Being surrounded by people who think big, it gave me access to their network, gave me a totally new perspective. Let's talk about how to curate your circle. Millionaires are ruthless with proximity. They do 4 things most people won't or don't even think about. They audit their inner circle regularly. If someone's draining their time or energy, planting doubt with negativity, or just playing too small, they distance themselves. They invest in environments. They pay to be in the room. Whether that's the country club membership, the clubs, the charity events, they do this with great intention, not because they're buying friends, but because high-level proximity creates high-level thinking and opportunity. They cross-pollinate across industries. You want new ideas? Don't just hang out with people who do what you do. Great minds borrow brilliance from other domains. Mix it up with diverse interests. They give as much as they receive. Millionaire mind circles aren't only transactional, though that certainly exists. If you're with the right people, there's a shared growth. Someone once told me this, that your status, how you think, how you operate your life, is the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So ask yourself this: who's in your corner? Who's challenging you to grow? Who believes in the vision of you that you're still becoming? The millionaire's mind doesn't leave this to chance. They upgrade their circle, and the circle upgrades them. So those are the 4 pillars you need to install to embrace a millionaire's mind. Okay, so here are a few questions. What's the first step if I don't know what I want to build yet? Well, start moving. Get in motion. Clarity doesn't come from overthinking, it comes from doing. When you're stuck, action is your compass. Just try something, anything that interests you. Start a side hustle, build a blog, offer a service, create a digital product. You don't need to have the full blueprint, you just need to be in motion, because the path reveals itself through action. Think of it like a GPS. It can't guide you until the car is actually moving. How do I stay committed when things aren't working? Well, reconnect with your why. When things get hard, and they will, logic won't keep you going. Emotion will. Your vision has to burn brighter than the obstacles that are in front of you. You've got to see the future version of yourself so clearly that it pulls you forward. And here's the truth. You're not failing, you're refining. What if my friends and family aren't supportive of my goals? Well, you don't need to cut them out of your life completely, but you do need boundaries. There's a difference between love and influence. You can love someone and not let them program your future. Start curating a new circle. Find people who can stretch with you, who challenge you, who believe bigger. Millionaires upgrade their circle because they understand you don't rise alone. You rise with the room that you're in. So protect your vision, because not everyone can see it. But that doesn't mean it's not valid. Okay, what's the number one mistake you see people make on their path to success and wealth? Mainly trying to do it alone. I was like this for most of my life. I suppose I still am in some ways, because building a network takes a lot of effort. But big-time success is a team sport. So if you're building it in isolation, you're climbing with one arm tied behind your back. Get mentors. Join mastermind groups. Invest in community. Buy your way into the rooms where the conversations are different. It will pay off. These 4 pillars are not theory. They're thought patterns coded into every success story that I've ever seen. Commitment that overrides all excuses, systems and building money machines that work for you and free your time to create, risk that sharpens you and that you profit from, circles that elevate you. Is there more to learn? Of course there is. But rewire your mind with just these 4 pillars of success, and the world will open up for you. You don't become a millionaire by chasing money. You become one by installing the mindset that creates it. These 4 pillars, they're not tips, they're not a theory, they're the operating system of every self-made success story. So ask yourself, which one have I been avoiding? Which one, if I truly owned it, would change everything for me? Because the future version of you, the one who's free, fulfilled, and fully in control, isn't waiting for the perfect lucky moment. They're waiting for you to level up. So stop waiting for something to happen and go out and make it happen. Build your millionaire's mind starting with these 4 pillars and step into the life that's already yours if you're bold enough to claim it. I'll see you on the inside.